Hey there, it's Fight here with a demo of convertri. So yesterday I went on a cycle and it was absolutely evil, and I thought that would be a nice little, example of what you could use this for. So if you quickly want to put together a landing page where you say, look, I've got this great tour, I've downloaded it or uploaded it as a GPX, and if you want it, there you go, right? So, I mean, it's completely made up, obviously, but just to show you, what this can look like and how fast it is, I'm putting together a landing page where you can download a GPX thing, except I didn't actually put that in there. So I'm going to call this toekiller because I killed my toe in the process. The reason I killed my toe in the process is because I was totally and utterly dehydrated at the end of the ride, and as I have inherited my dad's and my granddad's gout, which doesn't normally flare up, except when I cycle long distances in the heat without drinking enough, then it does flare up a little bit. So what we've got here is the screen, and now of course we need to decide on a background color. We don't quite like this. Oops, sorry, that's that button over here. Background color, we're just going to go for, well, I'm going to go for whatever, what nice, cool, calming water. That's what I want for my toe. There we go. You can't quite see the exact edge. Let me see if I can move that over. So there we go. And as a background image, I'm going to use a screenshot, which you can't see at the bottom. I mean, if I now move this down here, there you go. That picture there, which I've uploaded earlier, which is the screenshot of the ride I did. So now it's taken on the whole screen. Obviously, we're only seeing part in this recording, but you'll see it later on in on the page you can download. Alrighty, after taking another phone call, here we are back, and this is basically now the background image. Now, of course, what I need is an opt-in form type thing. So I'm closing this thing over here. I'm moving my screen over, sorry, so you can see this whole thing in action. So first thing we want is basically an opt-in, a panel, something, that says, well, this is where it's all happening. So that's kind of the background box behind the opt-in form. I want to make that a little bit bigger. You can switch on and off a grid if you like. At this point we don't need it. And this thing here, well, I need to have it slightly transparent. So I go over here to properties and I say I want this background to be slightly transparent. And unfortunately I only know how to do this. Here we go. There we go. I want this to be, I'm kind of old school, and I would have typed in this type of thing here. So we're going to go for, a little bit more like this, and probably a bit more a grayish type thing, but darker. There you go. Now you can still see the stuff in the background, but there's an opt-in form, and we want to have rounded borders, rounded edges. So 20 here, 20 there, 20 there, and just to be really odd, we'll make it 40 there. Ooh, doesn't that look odd? Actually, that could actually work. 80. Ugh, horrible. Look at this here. What an odd form. There we go. Anyway, you can do all that kind of stuff. And now we need to have some text fields in there. So we want to have, what is your, do you want the GPX file for the tour? Something along those lines. I mean, it's a bit silly, but you get the idea. And I want to have Arial black, nice and big and fat and juicy, and 28 pixels. Now, watch the box in here, right? So as I choose a bigger font, the box grows. I like that. A lot of page builders they then have the box there, and your text suddenly is cut off, and you almost every time I do that, I then have to manually increase the box because I want the text. I've already decided I want the text. So I prefer this one where the box adapts to or adjusts as and when you change the font. So I want this, I want it centered, font color, actually just use a plain white, there we go. And do you want the GPX file? Actually it needs to be a little bit more up, despite my very odd looking corners there. And now of course I need to have a form. For this you need to configure a form. Now up here you configure the form. I've done, it's not on the screen, so it's very simple. You just dump in a name and some form code and you're done. I'm not going to scroll up and down. It's very easy. And now I can say I want to have a form, and that is basically down through this. So I've got, you can see this, yes, two forms. The form input, the first one I want the name, or email. In this case, I'm going to say, I'm going to show, actually let me move over then. So here we go. So at the top, it now says, this is the text that appears, and it is assigned to a certain form field. Now I've just configured that form field down there, and we've got two forms. We can have either name or email, or two fields, right? Name or email. So I'm going to go with name, and I'm going to say, what does mommy call you? All right, so that is the name field. And then yeah, I could do the rounded borders if I wanted to. Now we can go top left, border radius, whatever, 10, 10, 10, 10. You get the idea. All that good stuff. I could change the color, all etc. etc. And now I'm going to pull in the second form. There we go. And we're going to call this obviously email, this time with square borders. And we're going to assign the field email. And of course, now we need a submit button, which is, I'm going to drag this all back here. There we go. Now we can have the submit button. And okay, you can't see this off screen where it said email earlier. I have now text submit, which I change or edit to. Yes, I want to torture my toes. Something along those lines. Again, we can change the color, we can change everything. So in this case, we should probably, so I'm going back up here to settings. You want to have a nice background color for these buttons. So let's go for a nice orange, something like this here, yes. And perhaps the text should then be font color, some kind of blue, orange and blue there, apparently friends. There we go, I want to torture my toes, and there we go. And that's about it. Now, obviously, in the real world, you'd probably have a bold text down here. You'd probably have, privacy policy, all that kind of stuff. But for the purposes of this demo, I'm saving this, I'm publishing it, and we call this thing toekiller. And we publish it. And now we can view it. And there it is, in all its glory. Okay, so if and when you go to this URL, which I'm sending out via email, please don't sign up because I haven't configured this. Incidentally, I configured it with Sean Donahoe's tool, Leads Flow Pro. And there you go. Now you can connect those two and drive people through your sign-up funnel with Leads Flow Pro. But I can't make the screen bigger, but as you can see, I can pull this down. You can see the old picture at the bottom. And there's my whole page. And the beauty is it doesn't scroll up and down. The whole picture takes up this page. It's awesome. Got the whole, that's the route I took. And by the time I got here to the Kleine Wiesenthal, my toe started getting tired. Actually, I didn't feel it last night, but I started getting seriously dehydrated. By the time I got here, I was starting to cramp up. And fortunately, my wife and my daughters were at the lake, mountain lake up here. So it was finished then. Alrighty. So there you go. That's how easy it was to create an opt-in form like this. So there you go. That's it. That's how easy it is. And as you saw when I loaded this page, it also shows how incredibly fast this whole thing is. Alrighty. Cheers. Bye.